Redditors who grew up with shady/criminal parents. What did your mom or dad teach you was okay to do, that you later learned was illegal or seriously frowned upon? I have fond memories of hanging out in the shed with my parents, me playing with my dolls and them harvesting their money trees, weeds strewn all over the floor, hanging from the ceiling, the leaves made into a little bed for my Barbie to sleep in. There were a lot of weird things I didn't think much of as a kid, but realized were fucked up as an adult. Like how our family moved 13 times in 15 years. I just assumed people got new houses all the time. And how sometimes I would go to the freezer for some ice cream and find stacks of cash in the containers. Just weird shit like that. Quite a few things. Backstory, my BO dad was convicted of murder, got away with another murder through claiming self-defense, no clue if it was truly self-defense, and apparently had a third murder that he never got caught for. He would steal constantly from people to things inside stores. One of my earliest memories is wanting this super cute pink hat. I believe I was around 8. He put it on my head and told me to walk to the car. I remember asking about paying, and he said, "Don't worry, just walk." So, little me walks to the outside doors with her heart pounding, and then the alarm goes off. I freeze and run back to my dad, that was still shopping. First lesson I can remember I learned: you just need to keep walking when those alarms go off. He died a few years back. My brothers and I are decent people. My brother is a great dad, despite who he had as a dad. My dad stole a few things in a sneaky way, so my brother and I would have won each. In one instance, for example, he bought a Gamma Boy game. He brought it back to the car, removed the cartridge, and took it back into the store saying the case was empty. He did the same thing with those Pikachu Tamagotchi things. I think his biggest steal was a PlayStation 2. He actually did purchase one. My mum went in and picked it up, but when leaving the store, the door person didn't tear the receipt. So, my dad took the receipt back in, picked up another PS2, stuck the receipt on it and walked out. The door person tore the receipt this time, but obviously didn't pay attention to the time of sale. Dad also ran a huge business of installing chips in PlayStations, so they could play copied games. He would rent games, burn a copy, then sell copies to other people. We had a whole library and catalog of copied games and Dad had quite a few customers. Looking back I see how dodgy it was, and why he told me not to tell too many people about it. My dad's no serious criminal, but petty in every way, including the crime he commits. I was basically taught to play dumb, act like you belong, and you can do whatever you want. We snuck into VIP lounges, other people's buffets and parties at restaurants and events. He once lied to a ticketer at a movie theater, and got mad when they couldn't find the tickets he ordered online. He had not ordered tickets, but there was a huge line and he didn't want to wait. We got in for free, and cut a huge line. Also cut lines at Disney Worlds and other sorts of places. My family did a lot of petty, trashy crime, shoplifting, theft, domestic assault, drugs, etc. I thought it was normal for adults to just kinda go to jail every few years for a day or two until I was 10. Now, my stepdad is out of my life. My mom is too old/ill to do anything particularly bad, and my dad may have helped finance a district attorney's election, which has saved him mountains in legal fees for himself and the hookers he frequents. My sister. She's 18 years older than me, so my mom would occasionally leave me with her. Sometimes for the day, a couple times for 5 days. Her boyfriend, pimp, coming over, and then strange guys coming and going. I was like, what are they doing in there? Driving to her drug dealer's RV in a trailer park. She left me and my niece outside while she fucked him for dope. Again, what are they doing in there? Waking up to all kinds of weird people in the dining room doing drugs out in the open at 8 AM. Driving severely impaired with 2 kids in the car. She would sleep all day. My niece and I would wake up. She was 5, I was 12, and there would be almost no food in the house, so I had to scrounge. I'm talking potted meat on moldy bread. Baked beans for breakfast. It was some of the most fucked up times. I fucking hate that woman to this day. Don't even bother giving me the "Osh, an addict." Poor her. Be kinder to her. No. She also let both of her ex-husbands touch my niece. She was so negligent I'm shocked that we didn't have worse shit happen. Edit: my sister is not my biological mother. You'll need to take your conspiracy theories somewhere else. There is solid evidence to prove that she is not my mother. Also, we thought this shit was normal. Like weird people in the house, eating moldy food, going to sketchy places. Edit 2. I'm gonna further explain why my sister is 18 years older than me. My mom had her at 18, and then I was a surprise at 36. I look like my mother and my father, and not like my sister or my nibblings. My sister resented my existence from my conception. She was an only child, and then I came and fucked it up. My sister didn't become a full-blown drug addict until after my nephew was born 3 years later. There's pictures of my sister and mother together with my 36-year-old mother pregnant and my sister not pregnant in the early 90s. There is a specific photo of my whole family together, including my father who was just my mom's boyfriend at the time. They broke up, and she told him to kick sand, and she is pregnant in the photo. Edit 3. Okay, I know baked beans for breakfast is a thing in the UK and Aus, but in Texas it's weird AF. That's some poverty shit over here. Baked beans are for serving with BBQ and dinner. I never knew we weren't allowed to drink at the local fair. Mom used to bring beer in a cooler when we went, until I was 21 and a cop stopped me when I was walking around with a beer. So this question brings up a very specific memory. My dad never said explicitly that what he was doing was acceptable, but he certainly didn't tell me that this was wrong. I'm between the ages of 5 to 7, unsure about a specific timeline on this, and my mom is often working in the evenings, while my dad is sporadically around. One night, while my mom is gone, dad gathers me to go for an adventure. Usually this means driving around the city and looking at stuff. Well, dad pulls up to a hospital and parks. He sits with me in the car and gives me a script saying that we recently moved here, a lie, and that he had hurt his back while moving boxes, mega lie. I play along because hey, it's my dad and sure, whatever he says goes. Any other specifics from that night are hazy. I think he managed to talk his way into some sort of painkiller prescription. This was in the early zeros, so opiates weren't as visible as now. My dad has been in successful treatment since then, but man, that's a big memory that stands out for how screwed up my young life was. My dad was a mechanic. The ones that stick out was when he would charge for a new replacement part and then go to the local junkyard and get the part from there. If the customer asked up front, he would be honest and offer the two options. Junkyard part equals cheap but likely reliable, or new equals expensive and only parts warranty. If they didn't ask, most of the time it was a junkyard part. Rarely got in trouble or called out, since his prices were a fraction of regular shops. Oh, I guess the other main shady part was that he wasn't a legit certified mechanic and most business was cash / under the table. His apprentice is now my mechanic, and he learned from my dad's mistakes. He provides receipts, boxes, and shows me where he installed the new part, and it's always shiny and new, minus obvious grease handling / installation marks. A family friend was in the import / export business for gemstones. I didn't realize it could be illegal to transport gems across borders. We would have gem parties where a dining table that can sit 12 would be completely covered in bowls of gems and jewelry to buy. Same as Tupperware parties, but for gems. Some stones my parents got appraised shocked their jeweler. Super rare colors of different stones that they had never seen before. That friend has gone legit. Owned some mines in Africa now. My parents would often get me to answer the phone as a young kid, like 4 to 5 and older. Anyways, they people on the phone always asked if Jones Mollusk was there. My parents would coach me, no, Jones Mollusk lives here. You don't know who that is. Well, as a kid I really didn't have a clue who Jones Mollusk was, because dad was always just dad, or went by his nickname. Didn't find out for years what my dad's real name was. I guess I helped my parents evade a few debt collectors and God knows what else. Also, me and my sister used to go play barbies in dad's clubhouse. It was our favorite place. Dad built it himself in our backyard, and they even had a big bar and a pool table, and they brought a velvet couch for me and my sister to play on while dad played pool and visited with all my uncles. Dad always called it his clubhouse too, so when people asked where my dad was, I'd say dad was probably in his clubhouse. To which my mom would always get so mad at me, and I'd be so confused, because that's what dad and everyone else called it, but I wasn't supposed to talk about it apparently, haha. Yeah, my dad was in a biker gang. If we were at home, and they yelled pigs, We were to hide behind the couch and be silent. If we were in the car and they yelled pigs, we had to crawl into the floorboard and not move a muscle. I was kidnapped in grade 3 by my dad's supplier. He held us for 2 days. We had no idea. My sister and I met him before, lots of times. When he showed up at school and said our parents were on vacation and to go with him, we did. They had soda and Oreos and a puppy and a Sega Genesis, and it was the best weekend of my life. Found out 20 years later, when my mom was complaining about never having had a vacation in her life. I reminded her of that vacation, and she said, "You idiot, you were kidnapped." Oh, cool.